Hi everyone, welcome to the Books and Backbone podcast. My name's Donna Harris. I'm the owner of Bookkeeping Made Simple, and I am here today with James Hunter, owner of
Highbridge Premium.
Highbridge Premium. James, tell us a little bit about yourself and your products.
Love. Highbridge is one of the uh, oldest hemp THC beverages. We've been around about 6 years. Started in California, and our journey took us to production in Texas, and we finally wound up with production at Surly Brewing up in Minneapolis. And so we've learned a lot along the way. Uh, from inception to present, the goal has always been to make the best tasting beverages available. We think we've done a good job in doing that, and we've stayed pretty true to the mission of the company from when we started, and that was to be a delicious, premium type of a product, number one, but also to be socially responsible and to be educational and to be regulatory compliant, being a leader in that. So we have kind of taken a position of leadership in all of those uh, points that appear on our mission statement. And we're proud to be where we are right now, currently producing and distributing 8 SKUs let me see, we're in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, New Jersey, Georgia, Florida, Texas, soon to be Arizona, soon to be Tennessee. And it's kind of interesting because our distributor in New Jersey, one of the oldest distribution companies in the country. They started about 103 years ago. So we're pretty satisfied that they're going to be around a while to help us out on this journey. But they also have distribution rights for Maryland, Massachusetts, and Washington, D.C. So once they get their feet wet in the New Jersey market, they'll start migrating us down. Our goal is to be in about 20 states by the end of next year, and we're on track this year to add about 3 more states. So looking forward to a big year this year and an even bigger year next year.
Well, that's awesome. So what makes your drink special?
Well, it's an interesting story. I come from a legal and venture capital background, and I had friends in this industry, the cannabis industry, that kept trying to persuade me to come and get in on the so-called gold rush. And because initially there was such a dichotomy and division of laws and regulations, I just couldn't get my head around how I could ever scale this business to make it a worthwhile venture. You basically had to go state by state and replicate and reinvent every time you moved to another state. Uh, Cost ineffective, very inefficient, and it just didn't seem like a productive thing. I then happened to have dinner with a friend, and he said, "What do I have to do to convince you to come out here and just start doing something?" And I told him those same reasons why I was hesitant, and he said, "Well, I don't know if this helps, but I came out here 4 years ago and I didn't know anything about the business, and now I have 27 dispensaries from LA down to San Diego, and 3 more out in Michigan. And so what does that look like to you?" And I said, "It looks like a lot of work." He said, "Yeah, but I did have 600 million in gross revenue last year. So let's get together tomorrow and have breakfast and we can talk about it." I said, "I can't, I'm busy." He said, "What are you doing tomorrow for breakfast?" I said, "I'm starting to figure out how I can get into this business." So that's kind of what lit the fire. We spent about a year and a half researching it, Canadian markets, points of entry, all the things that a venture capitalist would do. And we finally pulled the trigger and created a company in 2019, and finally started producing some product in 2020, 2021, right in the middle of COVID, which was remarkable insight for somebody who's a veteran of these wars. But we used that time to really hone our craft, to create our products, not knowing anything about chemistry, uh, one of the first things we did as a company was chief chemist from Pepsi. We just kind of figured that he would know what to make this stuff taste good. And for your listeners that have tried the beverages from time to time early on, uh, they're terrible. Uh, they just tasted terrible. They smelled terrible. It's nothing that anybody would want to drink. So that was kind of our goal. Look at something that people want to drink, something that people would, uh, go back to. And eventually, the overall goal for the industry is to become very mainstream, no different than a case of beer or a cocktail at night or whatever, without any of
Right.
the social implications that have kind of lingered in the cannabis industry for all this time. And so our first run was that when we decided to do this, the data showed us that there was about 2% of the revenue, all revenue, from 2% of all revenue in the cannabis business was coming. We saw that as the point of opportunity to
That's
start.
quite an opportunity.
Yeah, so there was a reason, and we quickly found out that the reason was nothing really tasted good. So we conquered that, and the first product we made was we decided to do beer because even the companies that were out there making beverages, nobody was making a beer or a beer-like product. And so that was our first challenge. Let's make a beer. And the lab, what do you want it to taste like? And we just flippantly said Coors Light. And about 7, 8 days later, we had a beer that remarkably tasted like Coors Light. The only difference was there was no alcohol. There was never any alcohol. It wasn't brewed, fermented. It was just a lab creation. Looked, tasted, smelled, tasted like a real beer. Did a 17-person taste test at a very busy restaurant over in Marina del Rey, and it was unanimous, other than one person chose our product over the Coors Light in a blind taste. So we knew we were on to something, and from that point we developed. That became our light beer product called. We then created a product that's more of a traditional craft style beer, which is called Alpine Rush. And then the final effort on the beer suite was a Mexican style beer that we named Neblina del Pacifico. And those, we like to offer our products in various dosages and various taste formats, something to appeal to everybody or give you different experiences. So the easy days is a 5 milligram beverage. The Alpine Rush is 8, and the Neblina is a 10 milligram beverage. Uh, we, at some point along this line, decided to pivot away from marijuana THC and become a leader in the hemp-derived THC arena. And that's what opened up the ability for companies like Highbridge to become interstate uh, uh, interstate ready, if you will. We were able to suddenly uh, produce in one location and ship all over the country. So the goal is obviously to be a nationally known brand. Right now, there's 39 states in the U.S. that allow hemp-derived THC, and our goal would be to be in 20 of those by the end of. Once we had the beers, manufacturing through R&D and all of that, we went on and made a couple of seltzers. And again, the philosophy was if you're going to make something, make it better, but make it different, make it identifiable, differentiate it from what's out there. And at this point, there were seltzers dominating the marketplace in THC beverages. So we just kind of held off and thought we had a very good product. We didn't bring it to market about 4 months ago, 5 months ago. And we don't make the traditional lemon lime grape soda sort of thing. We blend our herbs and fruit. We have watermelon, basil, and cucumber, mint, and things like that. And the primary thing we did that's different is we reduced the carbonation in our beverages by about 35%. So our seltzers don't give you that, oh, kind of a bloated or burpy kind of feeling that most seltzers do. And why more people don't do that with their seltzers, I only attribute to our lab. These guys know what they're doing, and most companies will use high compression CO2 to help stabilize the pH levels in their beverages and whatnot. And these guys know a way to do it without using that much carbonation. So it turned out really, really good for us. The
Good.
third suite of products that we have in the marketplace right now came to us pretty much out of the blue. About a year and a half ago, I got a call from Jim Belushi. Uh, Jim owns a world famous farm up in Oregon, and obviously is a actor, comedian, singer, songwriter. Uh, Actually, he just finished wrapping a movie with Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson that came out in December. And he still tours regularly with the Blues Brothers. And he just called and he said he would like to do something with Highbridge. And okay, what do you have in mind? And the conversation kind of went quickly. He wanted us to make him a product and then he would pay us for it. And I said, that's not what we do. Uh, we're laser focused on promoting the brand of Highbridge. He said, well, let's do that then. I said, let's do a co-branding thing. So we came up with, I said, what's your suggestion? And he said, how about Highbridge Premium and Belushi's Farm present, and then you fill in the blank and let's make something really special. Nobody was doing iced teas at that time, and so we decided to do uh, what we call the magical iced teas. And again, we have three different flavors and three different efficacies, very distinctive flavors and tastes. This was a very difficult product to make, and it took us almost 9 months to get the tasting down to where everybody uh, was ready to go. This was it, and nuances and everything else amongst the group of people is always difficult, but this was a challenging one. But at the end of the day, we think we've really nailed it with these iced teas. We've got a 5 milligram iced tea that it's our version of an Arnie Palmer, which is traditionally made with iced tea and lemonade, and we call ours a raspberry calmer, and that's made with black tea and raspberry tea. I think we've got a little mint in there too, just to give it a little more flavor. So the next tea that we made, I wanted to do something that was reflective of his Chicago Blues Brothers roots. So the next tea that we made uh, is a chai tea, and we named it Chai Cago. And that's an 8 milligram tea. It happens to be my favorite. Very chai forward, and just a delicious blend. A little black tea in there to take off the sharpness of the chai at the end of the flavor. And the third one that we did is a Earl Grey tea that we call Earl of Blues, and that's a 10 milligram drink. And that's with, again, a bit of uh, predominantly Earl Grey, a bit of black tea, and then some Italian bergamot orange to kind of give it a little exotic kind of a flavor. So we're really happy with all of those. Another thing that kind of sets us apart was we wanted to be, as part of our commitment to social responsibility, we didn't want to inundate people with sugar and fake sugar and all of that. So we didn't want a high caloric drink. So all of our beverages, with the exception of the tea, none of our beverages use sugar. We put on the label that there's 5 milligrams, but that's just in case something snuck in through one of the additives or whatever. But less than 5 milligrams sugar, less than 5 calories. If the lab tests out, you'll probably find no traces of either. The seltzers are the same, and the teas, in order to create the flavor that we were looking for, we decided we had to use some sweetener, but we did not use any processed sugar or anything like white sugar or anything like that. So we used pure cane sugar in a very limited amount and that
Awesome.
is reflected in caloric content. So that's our highest calorie beverage. That's about 20 calories for a 12-ounce can. If you look at the competition out there and the other products, you're hard pressed to find somebody that makes a healthier beverage. And you can sure find a lot of them that are conscious of that at all. No, we're pretty happy.
Yeah, I've noticed that the only beverages that I have seen now, and I'm kind of handicapped because I'm in Utah, um, but they're all at the dispensary again that I've seen. So they could be here, and I just haven't seen them yet. And they're just the little bitty bottles with 100 milligrams per dose or 100 milligrams per bottle. And I was kind of going, I want like a tall boy, something I can, or at least a can that I can carry around that, so people aren't coming up to me and saying, do you want an alcoholic beverage?
Yeah,
um,
uh, you're our customer. I mean, that's kind of what we created
yeah,
this beverages for. We think it fits. Put it in a cooler, take it to the beach. Moms can take it to the soccer games, whatever they want to do. It can be served at a dinner party. And our beer, what we call our full beer, uh, can is it kind of reflects the beer content or that image. They're very attractive. We've won awards. I should probably mention that too. When we did the Mexican style beer, we introduced that in 2023, and that was voted number 2 on the top 15 new products in the cannabis industry that year. And right now, I think we'll get the news hopefully next week, probably the following week. The Chicago in the tea suite that is in the running for the best beverage of the year. So we're pretty happy.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. So yeah, we're just we're queuing some things up for next year. We have a couple of things that are kind of fun through the R&D process that we'll try to get out there before Valentine's Day. We have aphrodisiac shots that Highbridge calls Higher Love, and just tasteful 2-ounce shots with one's in a pink bottle that's 5 milligrams, one in a blue bottle with 10 milligrams. So you can take which one you want to use, but very tasteful and very sweet. To fit in a purse or whatever you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we just made this decision with the team meeting yesterday, breaking news. We decided to move full speed ahead on developing our mocktail line. So by the first part of the year, we're going to try to get something out before Christmas. I doubt that'll happen. That's a pretty aggressive timeline. But certainly for sober January, we'd like to have our
Hmm.
mocktails available. So that's in the R&D system right now. And we're going to do some fun things with that. And again, try to be a little more scale, a little more reflective of big city life and things like that. So it'll be fun, and we'll keep you posted on that.
Yeah, that sounds just fantastic. Like I said, I like just having something to nurse all night. I don't necessarily want to be hammered,
Yeah, yeah.
um, whether it's with alcohol or something else. I don't want to be out of control. So I love the low dosages in a 12-ounce can that just looks like any other 12-ounce can. I didn't see any cannabis leaves on it, I don't think. Or if there are, they're small. So it's not shoving it in anybody's face that I'm over here consuming um, 8 THC.
Right, right.
It's just relaxing. It's not.
Yeah, it's exactly the intent that we have. We're pretty active in the regulatory uh, process as well, and so we interface with legislators, state by state legislation. There's a big, an ongoing, I wouldn't call it a battle, but just an ongoing effort, if you will, to kind of homogenize the rules and the regulations and whatnot. And we make no bones about it. And we have people take a sample of our product and say, well, I don't feel anything. And the first thing we ask them is, are you an experienced user? Well, yeah, it's a badge of honor, I guess. I do 100 milligrams a day. Well, then that's not for you.
You're not
Don't
going to
apply.
feel anything.
That's not who we're making this for. And the reason that
Hmm.
we're doing this in a low dose arena is if you can kind of picture a pyramid, and this is where the legislation is happening. I don't mean to get all legal, legislative, regulatory on you, but we think this is where it's heading, meaning like the Hemp Beverage Alliance and our lobbyists and stuff in every state in Washington, et cetera. We think the final conclusion will be up here at the top tier of that pyramid. That's where the dispensaries will remain, and they'll be pretty much what you see now, with little regulatory structure to it as far as uh, how many milligrams you can put in a vessel, the type of vessels you use, the type of delivery system. Uh, but it will require stricter governance and in a card to buy there. And the typical things that you see now, that won't change. Now, you go down the pyramid, they're creating a second tier that they call adult use. That's the working thing right now. And adult use, again, is 21 and over, but it's going to be limited in maximum quantities. And the quantity that's bounced around right now is maybe it's 50 milligrams, maybe it's 100 milligrams, but it's going to be something substantially below what they're doing up here in the medicinal part of the pyramid. And that leaves this bottom part of the pyramid. And if you follow that structure, this is really the bulk of the people down here. And that's going to be what they call recreational. And that probably will settle in with about a 10 milligram cap. Some states are already kind of suppressing that to 5 milligrams, but it'll be a low dose arena, and that's intended for purchase pretty much anywhere. So you're going to go from dispensaries to quasi dispensaries, highly regulated, to virtually available everywhere. And that's the arena we work in right now. So you can find Highbridge in liquor stores, restaurants, bars, convenience stores, gas stations, tattoo parlors. Whoever wants it can have it in their stores.
Yeah, and I can't even tell you how much I love that because I have friends that are alcoholics
Yeah,
and they would love to have a beverage that they can nurse that still makes them feel good and relaxes them that's not alcoholic.
yeah, I think
Um,
so.
and I think that that these beverages are coming in and the younger generation, Gen Z, is saying they don't really want alcohol.
Yeah,
So I think this is a
yeah.
really good way.
We kind of, pardon me to interrupt, but we kind of, uh, as part of our social responsibility, then what can we do here? What can we do next? So this came about just simply because I'm an insomniac, so I'm usually up at 3 o'clock, 3:30, something like that, and then I just start reading, and I read an article about the American Legion, and the American Legion, 12,000 posts in the United States and territories with 2 million members. And, that's a nice audience to have. But then what struck me was they have the highest degree of alcoholism of any demographic in the United States and the highest degree of suicide. I could hardly wait to a reasonable time so I could call Jim Belushi and say, hey, what do you think of this idea? So we beta tested what we call the Highbridge American Legion Initiative a few months back, and it was met with good success. We're going to reset this and bring it out again probably the end of Q1 of next year when after the beta test, it's highly, the reception was universally good. What we discovered was we approached it from building from the grassroots up, and to penetrate into what we need to do to get this message out, we have to go up here and then have it trickle down. So the new reset on this initiative is to engage with the upper echelons of these groups and bring this, as Jim says, bring them some relief. And the program that we put together is just, it's very, very moving if you ever watch the entire presentation. And Belushi starts with his how he got involved with veterans, etc. And we have one of our board members, Dr. Joe Cunha, who was the first doctor to advance the use of cannabis in place of opioids. And he now
Oh gosh, yeah.
regularly prescribes cannabinoid remedies, even in place of over-the-counter medication. With curing, I don't think we've talked about them yet today, but again, going back to our commitment to social responsibility, Realm of Caring has been a strategic partner of ours now for about 3 years. Realm of Caring is the number one charity organization in the cannabis world, and it is a branch of Charlotte's Web. And Charlotte's Web obviously is one of the better known companies in the cannabis world. It's a very moving story and it's extraordinarily moving if you get a chance to go to Charlotte's Web and see the video and whatnot. If that doesn't move you,
Yeah, we'll link that in the show notes.
they called Highbridge to see if we would contribute a check for their fundraising. And this was kind of early on, and we were just in the middle of production, and I'm just not in a position to do it. And then I watched the video, and then I called back and I said, you know what, I can't write you a check right now. But if you have the degree of confidence in Highbridge that we have in Realm of Caring, we'll give you a percentage of every dollar we make.
And that could be better.
Whatever, right. So we're in our third year of Realm of Caring now. And it's very gratifying. Those things are. That's kind of what keeps us going, and the giving back part of what we do. So that's all part of the Highbridge American Legion initiative. So look for that.
I love it. I come from an Army family. So my dad and one of my brothers are both combat veterans. So that's something that's very close to my heart. Anything to do with that. So they have horrible suicide rates, and then many of them are in pain, physical pain, and the VA will only give them opiates, and not much of those.
One of the things that we heard during our beta testing too was it's a very close-knit environment in these posts, and it's where they congregate. It's where they're comfortable, etc. And the thing that they liked most about Highbridge was they could walk around with a can of our beer and nobody knows what you're drinking. You could pour it over ice with one of the seltzers or an iced tea, and it gave you the comfort level that nobody's looking at you like, what's the matter with you? And so it's kind of a ingratiating thing that they can, the tool they could use to be more comfortable. So, and through Realm of Caring, they've got access to medical intervention. They've got access to doctor referrals, 24-hour hotlines for both alcoholism and for suicide, etc. So we're really, really happy with it. Looking forward to that expanding rapidly. So
I love it. We will link to Charlotte's Web in the show notes as well as to your website. You have a time constraint and I have a time constraint, so I hate to do this, but we have to cut the recording off. Thank you for being on. Viewers, we will have all of the information that James talked about in the show notes. Feel free to reach out to him, and I believe it's highbridgepremium.com.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And what a great hostess for a podcast. This is the conversation format is so much better than a Q&A. Wonderful.
I like it a lot better than the more combative formats I've seen.
Let's do it again.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, James, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Bye-bye.